good afternoon to you. My name's Jenny McCormack and I'm from Gemini Crafts, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the centre of the UK. Welcome to my Facebook Live this afternoon. We had fun and games yesterday as Facebook started recording my live and then brutally just stopped. So I did record it. I deleted the first half and just left the second half on my Facebook page and also on my YouTube channel. So I'm hoping for a bit better luck today in that it runs smoothly and doesn't stop abruptly. So let us see. So this week we've been using a stamp set called Blossoms in Bloom, which has some matching dies. So just in case you haven't seen that, or if you didn't see the beginning of yesterday, let me just show you what we've made so far, and then we'll take it from there. So let me just see if this is all very slow, which always makes me really suspicious. So I'm hoping it is actually live and working. We will have a look see. At least the sun is shining and it's Friday, so that means we have hopefully a nice weekend to come. Fingers crossed. Okay, it looks like we're live, so just hoping we stay that way. Hi Molly, nice to see you. There's something very odd in my on my video. It's all scrunched up, which always makes me slightly suspicious because this is what happened yesterday, but I will make a start and let's see how we get on. So the cards we made on Monday were these two here. I think this was my sample. This was the one that I made using the main stamp set, adding in some bits and pieces and a sentiment. This sentiment is also from the set Get Well Soon. And then I wasn't, so Tuesday I made this one, beg your pardon, which was stamping that image in the centre and then expanding on the image and cutting it into two to make two cards. And that was on Tuesday. I wasn't live on Wednesday, and this is what I created yesterday evening, so it's Thursday. So this is using the matching dies. So I've cut this one but left the middles, and I've cut this from our champagne foil. And then this one here, we've stamped in the background. I've added the white layer and the blue layer. I did an infill with the green pieces for the leaves, and I use a blends pen just to colour in those centres. So quite a different look, even just between those two cards. And obviously you've got multiple choices really in terms of the colours that you use. So for example, this is one I created out of some of the spares, and that's on Seaside Spray using Gorgeous Grape and then the white narrow edge. And then I also have this one here, which is on the Petal Pink using Rich Raspberry and the white. So many different options. This is by far my favourite, closely matched by that one. Okay, so today we're going to do something different, and that is we're going to use a piece of white which I've cut out with the larger of the two dies that has more of the definition, whereas this has got very fine edges. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the sponge daubers on this piece, and I'm actually going to create two cards from that. One is going to be the sponging on the top, and the one will be the stencil underneath that we're going to create. Now this is all thanks to one of my lovely team members, Moretta, and Moretta entered our creative challenge competition. We have one every week with a different challenge, entirely optional for people to join in with, and she entered using this technique, so I asked her if I could borrow it for my live today. So let me grab a piece of card. So I'm just going to work on a piece of A5 card. So let me just cut that to start with. Like so. Okay, so what I'm going to do is place this. I could put it in the corner actually. So do that, because then I can cut around it. Actually no, I'm just going to put it in the middle because I don't know how much of that I'm actually going to use. And what I'm going to do is I have hopefully a yellow dauber here. So these are our sponge daubers and they pop on your finger. Some people call them finger daubers. So I'm going to do yellows for the centres of the flowers. So I'm just dipping it in there, and I'm just going to hold this. You could use a bit of masking tape to hold it down, but I quite like just to hold it with my fingers. I'll just try not to get too inky. And what I'm doing is pushing around the centre so that the yellow goes onto the card behind. So just going to work my way around the large and the small flowers. Now you can do this with sponges. I like the daubers for this particular technique because you can just get that little bit more, you have that little bit more control over where the ink goes, and it's already sort of rounded for you, so you don't tend to get any edges of the sponge. So I am making sure that I'm pressing just that little bit harder around the edges, which if you were only doing the top layer and you didn't want to use the underneath, you wouldn't need to do. Okay, so there's 3. Fingers crossed this is still working, although it does look to be in a slightly weird format, sort of squashed up on my screen, so it makes me look like I've got really big hands. Promise I haven't. Okay, let us do this little one here, and this one here. So I hope you can see that okay, and my hands aren't too much in the way. So the colour I've got here actually is So Saffron, but I'm building it up with quite a few layers, so it almost becomes a Daffodil Delight. Okay, and I've got this little flower here. So this is drying fairly quickly, but I am going to do the leaves next and then come back to the other flowers. And you can obviously come back and add more later as well. Just do that edge there. Okay, so let's find some green. So I've got Pear Pizzazz, and I'm going to pick out the leaves. I think this one is green. Oh, yes, that's very green. Not sure it needs to be quite as dark as that. But holding that down, and exactly the same thing. And making sure that I'm pressing in the gaps so that you get that relief around the edge of the leaf. I've obviously re-inked this Pear Pizzazz fairly recently because it's quite dark, and I'm bringing the dauber outside, well outside of the leaf itself, so that you get that area around it. There's another leaf in here. So I hope everybody's had a good week. I've certainly had a somewhat busy week, and I've got all the components for our class in a box for September. So the cards are all cut and scored, the papers, the ribbon, the embellishments are all sorted. The only thing I have left to do are the die cuts and then putting them all in the boxes. So that's what I will be doing this evening. So it takes a little bit of time, and I apologise if my hand is right in your way, but do make sure you come round the edges so that you see those leaves in sort of silhouette. That one, and I've got another one here. So effectively we're almost using this die as a stencil, but we are creating a card from the front at the same time. If you wanted a straight stencil, you could just use one of our daubers, not our daubers, sorry, our sponge brayer, and use that over the whole thing. Okay, so you can see how this is coming together. If I lift that up, you can see the edges and the centre of the flowers. So now let's have a little bit of purple, I think. Hi Anne-Marie, lovely to have you join us. Thank you, I hope you're keeping well. Haven't seen you for a little while. Right, so this is Highland Heather. Let me have a look and see. Yes, that's definitely purple. So I'm just making sure I've got this roughly back in its place. Oops. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is fill in some of the flowers. So start with this one here. And I prefer to tap it down rather than move it around, only because with these fine pieces it's very easy to catch those if you're not careful. So I'm making sure I'm dabbing through this centerpiece to get the actual flower itself, and around the edges, so that that is highlighted. can build that up as much as you want, like so. I think I will do maybe this one as well in the same colour, and then maybe pick out a blue for the others. So you could obviously do this with quite a few of our dies. We have some nice silhouette dies that this would work particularly well with. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Hi Claire, thank you. Who said late again? Oh, Bridie, bless you. Hi Tracy. Oh, Anne-Marie's been canning. What have you been canning, Anne-Marie? Something nice homegrown, I expect. So this does take a little bit of time to build it up, of course, but I think you'll like the finished effect because you're going to get 2 cards out of 1, like so. So say make sure you're coming round the edges, like so. That. And I think what I might do are the 2 little ones in this colour, and then pick another colour for the others. There we go, there's that one there. And the little one. There we go. So with the daubers you can be a little bit more accurate about where you're placing the ink, and you can build it up slowly. Whereas if you had the sponge, you tend to cover a wider area. Whereas this you can sort of concentrate it a little bit more. Okay, let me lift that up so we can see what's happening underneath. Yep, there we go. So now I'm going to fill in the other colour, and I think I want a blue. Let me see if I can find a blue dauber. Oh, tomatoes. Oh, very good. I have to say I do have tomatoes this year. Oh good, that's nice and clean. Let's see, I've got seaside, I think I might need to go darker. Let's try a misty moonlight. There we go. So I hope that's still in shot for you. So it's going to reposition this here. So it's mostly back in line. And ink up with Misty Moonlight. Obviously this could be your choice of colours, so it could be oranges, for example. If Carol W was watching us, she'd be wanting orange. That's her favourite colour. So just merging these in together, but remembering to add quite a bit inside so that you've got the silhouette. There we go. And then this one here. So I hope everybody's up to something nice at the weekend. I think at the moment it's a case of take advantage of being able to be out and about this weekend, because who knows what's going to happen next week. It's just rough for everybody, isn't it, at the minute? There's that one, and then come down to this one here. Might turn this round. Just position it there. As I said, you could take this down if you're very careful, but you'd have to do it right on the edge. You could put a little glue dot or something underneath, but I don't think you need to, because it's quite easy to reposition it anyway. So just doing this around the edge so that you've got a little bit more of a highlight around there, and then just letting these merge in together. If you really wanted to, you could mask off the edge of the flowers where you were changing colour, but I'm quite happy for them to sort of blend into each other like that. Okay, let's see what it looks like. So there we have one image, and then here we have another. Pretty, huh? So I've got this one that I can do something with, apart from the fact I put a big smudge on there from my fingers. And what I can do, if I just turn this over, is just go back over, and I want to make these a little bit more yellow. I'm just going to go back and do that. Might not work particularly well on the blue ones, but there we go. There we have it. Okay, so that's one really pretty layer that I'm going to pop onto a base card, and then here we could leave it as it is. I could cut around the edges as well, so you can see there, that's where the dye went onto it. Let's see, so if you cut this out, you would have mostly a white edge. You'd have the green, oh no, even the leaves would be white, wouldn't they? So if you cut that out, effectively you should have white, because that is the same size of image. So let me pop these away and make those into some cards. Can you tell me, Anne-Marie or Bridie, is it all squashed up on your screen? Because it looks like it to me. Looks like it's been shortened. Right, I'm going to find some backing cards. I'm thinking I might do a light, I might do Highland Heather or Purple Posy. Okay, that's good. Maybe just my screen. Okay, so that's on Purple Posy, which I think works absolutely fine. It shows the detail of that, doesn't it? So let me just make that into a card. Now the size of this stencil die is almost the size of a card, so I'm not adding a lot of layers. In fact, I'm not adding any layers, I don't think. Obviously you cut it down if you wanted to, or you could go for a bigger card altogether. So let's make this 14.85 like so, and score that at 10.5 centimeters like so. So it literally just fits on like so. There's like one position where it will fit exactly. So I'm not going to add any extra layers to that. I am going to add a sentiment, but no extra layers. So to put that on, I'm just going to use some wet glue, which should disappear. Oh good, thanks Bridie too. Must be the screen that I'm showing it on is like scrunched up for some reason, which is what happened yesterday. This has been just to say this has been by my computer and it's really warm, so now it's going everywhere. Moral of the story, don't leave a wet glue right by your computer where it will get warm. So I'm just adding a few dots here of glue. This layer is quite easy to work with because there's quite big margins to play with around the edges, whereas the fine one you have to be just a little bit more careful with. So well done Bridie. Bridie's held some one-to-one crafting sessions recently, so well done. Bridie's another one in our team. She's based in Wiltshire. I hope I've got that right. Calne in Wiltshire. As is Tracy, who's watching. Okay, right, let's have a go at getting this roughly straight. There we go. Just going to move that a slight amount. So make sure if you're doing this, your hands are nice and clean. Or put a piece of paper on the top as you're pressing it down. Or make sure the underneath is clean and press it down like that. There we go. So to finish that one off, I'm going to add a sentiment. I might have that coming off the edge or at the bottom. Actually, this might also go this way, mightn't it? With that in the middle. Just for a change. So what is the most obvious colour? I think I will use Highland Heather. I'm going to add a sentiment in there, and I still have my thank you, so I'm going to use that. Having found it, like so. So I think that would look quite nice, literally across the centre of that. I'm going to add that with some dimensionals. So this is a really versatile stamp set and matching dies. And this is one of those that you could get either or as well. You could just use the dies on their own because they're literally the large flowers and then some small individual flowers. So, oops, I haven't taken the bottom off that. So that you could use it entirely on its own. And I do have some other dies that I do that with, where I buy just the dies if I'm not sure about the stamp set or the sentiments, then I will just get the dies. So there's that one, so quite a different look. And let's see what we can do with this. So I'm going to try and cut it down and see. Now what I could do is stamp the centres potentially. Oh, I'm glad it went well. Sorry, I didn't see that. Righty. It's lovely, isn't it, when people are asking you. Whoops, I do apologise. Throwing my camera around. Let's have a look and see how this will cut. So I'm going to cut it slightly wider and then work my way down to see what it will look like. The wind is picking up, I can hear it. Alright, so what I'm going to do is just work my way around the edges with a narrow border and then see what I've got and what will fit. I could do with losing some of that ink mark on the right hand side. Okay. Right, let's have a look. So I can narrow this down. So this needs to be, if it's going to fit on a card, that sort of size. Like so. And then I'm just going to cut in from each side until I've got it down to, so it would be normally 10.5. So I'm just taking a little bit off each one until I get to where I need to be. This looks like pansies, doesn't it? So this is 10. Just going to get away with that. Let's have a look and see. And I think Tracy's here as well. I know she's planning to do something at some point. Oops. Right, let's have a look and see. Move that one out of the way. So I need to trim just a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is take it off this edge. I'm alright with the top and bottom, just a little bit more off the width there. Do you think I should stamp the centres of the flowers? Let me know what you think. Or just leave the whole thing as a stencil. There we go. So I've got this dot here. Look, and I could put in. So here's one I was preparing earlier. So this is the outline. This isn't finished, but what I'm going to do is use this to stamp the centres and see if it looks okay. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't matter. It's only my practice one. So this is So Saffron. Yeah, I think that works, doesn't it? Yeah, that works. And because I've got that sort of yellow edging around the centres, sorry, that's my mobile going. There we go. A little bit on there, and then a little bit on there. There we go. I'm happy with that. So that is going to go on to, just wondering if I need to go a bit darker. Let me have a look at a Gorgeous Grape. Or something else. My last sheet of Gorgeous Grape. Just as well I had a new delivery yesterday. Yeah, I think that would look better on the darker layer, won't it? Thank you, Brody. Let me just do that. Turn that one out of the way. So I'm just going to cut this Gorgeous Grape. I do keep a lot of my cardstock ready scored, because most of the time I'm using it as cards or layers, and I'm very lucky to have an automatic scoring machine, so I don't have to do them one at a time. It's a lifesaver when you're cutting, I don't know. So for my class in a box we had actually had 16 packs. Each pack had 24 cards in it. So to do that manually would be, yeah, would take a lot of time. So which way around am I going to have that? Like that, I think. Now you could, if you wanted to, do some more sponging around the edge so that the whole thing was in relief. So I could theoretically bring out this Highland Heather, bring out the pear and the blue to the edges. What do you think? Or shall I leave it as it is? I'll stamp the sentiment. Let me know what you think. Oh, thanks, Anne-Marie. I need more thank yous, so I'm afraid it's another thank you. But this time I'm going to use Gorgeous Grape. So, what do you reckon? Should I bring the edges out or just leave it as is? Is there too much white? So just basically bringing that to the edge. I can't decide. It's Friday. You know what I'm like on Fridays. Tricky. Bridie says she'd leave it. Yeah. I think I might. On the other hand, nothing ventured, nothing gained. See what anybody else thinks. I've got this one to finish off as well with this one here. Pretty, isn't it? I'm going to risk it slightly. Maybe do a little bit. Mind you, I have cut it down, which makes it a bit more tricky, but... So I'm just going to keep this here. I know this is a different colour of flower at the top, but it's very risky for me, isn't it? But I just want to make it sort of paler, working its way out to the edge. Get that there. Try that, and then a little bit more of the blue. Which one was the blue? That one. Oh, yes. Gone quiet because I'm concentrating. There we go. And a tiny bit of the green there. There we go. That blue. Yes. There we go. Voila. Okay, I'm going with that, like so. Hello Vivian. Oh, bye Anne-Marie. Take care. Thanks for joining us, Viv. Right, stick that one down. So I can just use my seal for that. Like so. So we were using our die cut as a stencil, as you probably gathered, Vivian, from there. So what I've done is cut one out in white, use sponge daubers to go over it in colours, and then on the piece behind it exaggerated the colour, so effectively you have the stencil itself and then the outline that's left behind to make into two cards. I think I favour that one. up there. I think, thanks Brady, I think you joined us yesterday, Vivian, when we were having issues with Facebook and videos, so I just apologise for that, because then I had fading lights, so everything was in shadow, and that's not the best thing to be. I just might do it this way. Let's have a look. Yeah, why not? There we go. So there's the negative, and there is the positive. That's using the dies. And let me show you yesterday's and the day before for anybody who missed it. If you've seen this already, then there's no need to watch. Just have those lie down nice and flat, just by scoring it a bit better. So those are today's cards. Thanks to Moretta for her idea. This was Monday's card with a matching envelope, just using the stamp set on its own, and that's got the little flowers. Those little flowers are very cute. This was the same thing but in a different colourway and a different sentiment, but from the same set. And then these two were stamped as one and then cut in half to make two large thank you cards. There's rather a lot of Highland Heather going on this week, I see, and Purple Posy with a little bit of blue in it. So there we go. And then yesterday's ones, sorry, were this one here. That's got all of the detail on it. And then this one here, just using the dies but without poking out the centres. And then this one, which I haven't put a sentiment on yet. So you can see how striking the combination is of the stamp underneath, the white of that die, and then the blue of the other die. And then these green pieces I just cut out by taking the die itself and just putting a little bit of green card where each of the leaves were. So I didn't put a complete sheet of green through, just put them where the leaves were to cut them out, and then I've just popped them on the top. Okay, so I think that is me done for this week. I have a busy day tomorrow recording all of the videos for our class in a box for this month and getting those all finished and dispatched. And that's it really. I have got a new kit that I'm just putting together for a little bit of fun. Not too taxing, but some ideas for Christmas, so that will be released next week. And then we'll be back to normal Facebook Live on Monday at 10 AM. So thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you taking the time out to visit me, whether you were live or whether you were on catch up or watching me on YouTube. Thank you very much. If you've got any questions on anything I've done or any of the products I've used, just message me or drop me an email. I'll be more than happy to help you. Thank you so much everybody. I hope you can enjoy the sunshine and the nice weather. Hi Marion, sorry we're just literally wrapping up, but you'll be able to watch on replay literally in a few moments. So thank you all for joining me. Take care, stay safe, look after each other and yourself, and I hope you can keep crafting. Thank you. Bye bye.